The numbers don't lie. Why is rap falling off the charts? Why do you guys think rap is falling off the charts?
Now, the other day, Billboard released a report that caught a lot of people off guard. For the first time since the 90s, there were no rap songs in the Billboard Hot 100's Top 40. That means it's been over 35 years since this last happened. 3.5 decades where rap was always somewhere in the top 40 until now. This sparked a big conversation online about why this is happening. Is rap really losing its grip, or is it something deeper going on with the culture and the music industry? So in this video, I want to break down exactly why that's going on and talk about a few reasons why rap music seems to be disappearing from the charts.
And then also because people are making lackadaisical music. Like, nobody's actually trying their hardest.
Now let's get into
I'll know because...
Like I said, Billboard dropped a report that shocked a lot of people recently, because for the first time since the 90s, there wasn't a single rap song in the Hot 100's Top 40. As of recording this video, however, Megan Thee Stallion actually came in at number 38, and so she broke that dry streak that hip-hop was going through. But that happened after the report came out. And like we all know, rap has been the genre that's defined generations for a very long time, dominated the charts, and shaped pop culture for decades. And the last time any of this happened was back in 1990. Biz Markie's classic Just a Friend was sitting at number 41, and the following week it jumped into the top 40, starting a streak that would last more than 3 decades straight. Now first, let's talk about some of the technical reasons behind this. First of all, Billboard recently actually changed how their charts work, for anyone who doesn't know. Basically, if a song has been on the Hot 100 for a long time and drops below a certain position, it actually gets removed. And this is actually what happened with Kendrick Lamar's and SZA's Luther record. It had an incredible 13-week run at number 1, but after nearly a year on the chart, it finally fell below the threshold and got taken off. And so this is something that Billboard has recently implemented, okay? So they've essentially changed the rules. Now when that happened, rap officially disappeared from the top 40. And the highest rap song on the charts that week was NBA YoungBoy's Shot Callin', sitting at number 44. And that was followed by a Cardi B and Kehlani record called Safe, and that was at number 48.
Why Be Better?
And the rapper Big X The Plug, I fuck with Big X, he's pretty dope. But he has a record called Hell at Night, and that was at number 49. So none of these records actually cracked the top 40, okay? And at the same time, Taylor Swift, okay, Big Taylor, okay, who's basically dominating the entire charts, right? She dropped her album, The Life of a Showgirl. And 12 songs from that project were sitting inside the top 40, leaving almost no space for rap to breathe. But that's not the full story, right? Rap's overall market share has been slipping for years. Now, back in 2020, during a bandemic, not the pandemic, bandemic, hip-hop made up almost 30% of the entire US music market, which is huge. And then by 2023, that dropped to just over 25%. And then in 2025, it's hovering around 24%. Now, just 5 years ago.
It's crazy to think how people believe rap is like taking up so much space, but it's like you have no idea. Most music consumers really just don't like rap, and that's because of actually, I'm not even saying
16 of the top 40 songs were rap records. 2 years ago, there were 8.
We're being honest.
Now, 0. At least
we're
right
being
now,
honest.
I think there's 1 or 2 songs in the top 40, but at the time when this report came out, there were 0 in the top 40, okay? And here's the thing, a lot of people are speculating that this might be just a transition period, because as an example, Drake, who's about to drop an album sometime soon in the next few months, right? He hasn't dropped his new album, Iceman, yet. And when Drake does, he'll probably occupy around 10% of the Hot 100 all by his lonely, okay? And then Kendrick's been quiet as well after dominating for nearly 2 years straight. So now we're left with a question that's bigger than just numbers. Is rap really losing its hold on the culture, or is the culture itself changing around rap? Now, one of the biggest reasons behind all this comes down to funding. For the past few years, record labels simply haven't been investing in hip-hop the way they used to. When the budgets dry up, the exposure does as well. But I think there's more to the story than just numbers and spending, because this shift right here feels a lot deeper than just that. This actually reminds me of something Lear Cohen once said. For anyone who's not familiar with Lear Cohen is a white Jewish music executive who's been around in hip-hop since the late 80s. He's one of the key figures who helped bring massive amounts of money into rap, working with everyone from Run DMC and Jay-Z to newer generations like Young Thug. He also founded 300 Entertainment, the label behind artists like Young Thug, Fetty Wap, Famous Dex, Dexter, and more. Now, years ago, during an interview, he was actually asked about rappers promoting drugs and addiction. And his response said everything about how this industry...
Yo, can we talk about how much I miss Famous Dex, man? Because Holy shit. Damn, I hate what's happened to him, bro.
really works. He admitted he knows it's harmful
And if we're being real, it's not even his fault. It's like the people around him.
to essentially platform these guys who, let's say, are addicts and they are promoting these harmful substances. But he simply said, I've got a business to run, like I got people to feed.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though? You're saying the
It's
opioid problem's a problem.
opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
And that mindset right there, putting profit before people, is exactly what started shaping the way labels operate today. Because once the numbers stopped adding up, the compassion disappeared as well. And that's when everything has started to shift, right? I remember a few years ago when record labels started investing less and less into hip hop. And you've seen a lot of different reports on this back then. And at the time, a lot of people were confused, like, why would they slow down on the most influential genre in the world? But here's the thing, right? The music business is a business. It moves based on numbers, not emotion. Back when we had that wave of young, hungry artists, cats like Juice WRLD and XXXTentacion, we saw a whole surge of stars come out of that era.
LOX,
but fast forward a
RIP
few
to
years,
Two Goats.
a lot of those artists are gone. And that's sad, but it's also the reality of what happened, right?
RIP.
Since then, labels...
And it's such a shame what X and Juice WRLD's labels done to them. Especially X's, bro. Like, his mom, oh my gosh. What a piece of shit.
have been pulling back. They've stopped putting in as much money behind rap acts. Meanwhile, other genres have exploded. Country music, for example, guys like Morgan Wallen are doing numbers that most rappers could only dream of. Latin music's growing like crazy, Afrobeats is everywhere, and pop acts like Taylor Swift are still eating up a huge part of the charts. Hip-hop used to be the main conversation for a lot of years, right? And for a long time, hip-hop was the conversation, but things have obviously changed. Labels have always operated in a way where they only want to invest if they see a guaranteed return, but especially today, right? And most rappers simply aren't giving them that. There's only a very small percentage that are thriving, and even they're fighting against a system that looks completely different from just a few years ago. That's why we're seeing so many independent artists pop up and win, because they've learned how to operate outside that system. They're building fan bases, selling merch, touring, and keeping their profits. Now, personally, I don't think this is just about budgets or algorithms. It is also cultural, right? And kind of going back to the point that I mentioned earlier, a lot of the young voices who are pushing rap forward aren't here anymore. Pop Smoke, Juice WRLD, XXXTentacion, and the sound that's been dominating lately, the constant violence, pain, negativity, it's not as profitable as it used to be. NBA Youngboy might be one of the only rappers in that lane still doing huge numbers, but outside of him, the mainstream it feels like they've moved on. The truth is, the conversation around hip-hop has also gotten dark, okay? And when the energy around something is dark for too long, people naturally start tuning it out. This goes deeper than just trends. It's very spiritual as well. Everything carries a frequency, and I think people are way more sensitive to energy than they used to be. When a song or a culture or a genre gives off a heavy negative frequency, it affects how people feel, even subconsciously. And when that becomes the
people being blinded by emotional politics. More on this after Blood and Guts.
dominant sound, the culture itself starts shifting, and how people respond to the culture starts shifting. And obviously this doesn't apply to every single rapper out there, because there are a lot of artists out there who move differently, who carry themselves with intention and purpose, who aren't feeding into that darkness. The energy shows and people feel it, because at the end of the day, hip-hop has always been driven by the youth. So the real question here is, what's changing within the youth right now? I think people are becoming way more conscious, more self-aware, and because of that, certain messages just don't connect like they used to. But even with all that being said, I still think this is one of the best times ever to be an independent rapper, because you don't need to be on the charts to win. You don't need a label to validate you or even push you forward. There's no gatekeeper stopping you from building something real. There's so much great rap music out there right now that's thriving quietly, moving in silence, doing numbers. A great example is Denzel Curry. Shout out to Denzel Curry. It's been a little while since we spoke about him, but he recently did a Halloween event in Denver that pulled around 10,000 people. No major push, just a loyal fan base. Or La Russo is another artist killing it independently. He's investing most of his money actually into his craft and seeing the return. And that's the real message here. You can truly run it up in today's world by being yourself. You don't have to chase trends or force the industry to notice you. Because the way I look at it is that the public is definitely craving authenticity again. And I remember Kendrick was actually...
And this is how, like, you know, mainstream rap is just dying because everybody wants to be solely independent now. People are doing their own waves, their own motions and shit. And honestly, good for them. Good for them. You're not going to make as much money as you think you should, as you think you deserve within the mainstream realm, because these motherfuckers are mad greedy and they're just trying to line their pockets. And yeah,
talking about this. I think it was last year he was doing an interview with, I believe
it's
Apple,
fucking over mainstream
he was talking about how
rap
authenticity
culture
is one of the most important things as an artist, right? Or maybe it was as a person, but it applies.
How to stay authentic? Was that the question? Or you have to believe in yourself and have to know that it's only one you. You're an amazing individual, unique. You're a miracle. I wake up every day and I'm like, this is crazy. Not crazy from a standpoint of being a celebrity, crazy just life. It's just wild. When you really sit down and just think about it and just bug out on some wild shit, it's wild. And to know that you are in this existence and in this world, it was only you, you have to know that you got to carry that authentic nature of allowing yourself to say, this is who I am, this is how people are going to see me, and also going to respect me, and it's going to inspire people to have truth. Because when everyone's authentic, what comes out of that is true love. It's no boundaries. We don't have any courtship on judgment. We don't have any perception of being able to ridicule anyone, because you showing up as your true self and showing up as my true self. And carrying that nature, it takes you places.
And that's what'll keep hip-hop alive.
But niggas are still gonna hate on Kendrick for this.
Not the charts, not the labels, but artists who stand on their true energy and purpose. And I also think people today are more inclined to support what they generally enjoy in the moment, not just what's being sold to them. Because one thing about the music industry is that it thrives on illusion. Sometimes you'll see an artist getting pushed everywhere, on every platform, on every post, and it looks organic, but behind the scenes, that's just part of the process of breaking an artist globally.
The industry plant. And not only that, when people make up fucking personas that aren't exactly what they are, just like Kendrick said, when you are your authentic self, there's really nothing that stops you. There's no barrier that people can tear down and try to get towards you and be like, oh, you brought this up, you're fake, you're blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, this is me. This is how I grew up. This is what I believe in. This is me, standing 10 toes down. I'm standing on business. It's not clocking you that I'm standing on business right now.
Testing the market, seeing how the public responds to this artist by investing all this money into them, pouring money into visibility, and seeing who sticks. And of course, we've seen that a lot in hip hop as well. Take Ice Spice as an example. It's now been a year since I made that video on her that went viral. Only 1 year, and you barely hear about her now. That's not by accident. It's because these labels aren't as eager to keep spending once the hype slows down. And although Ice Spice had almost 10 songs that touched the Billboard Hot 100, none of them carried enough longevity to stay near the top. Once the momentum cooled off, the push stopped. That's how the major label system works. It's built on bursts of attention, not longevity. They'll spend heavy in the beginning to make an artist look like they're everywhere at once, but if the numbers don't keep climbing, the machine simply moves on to the next act. The way the industry works is kind of like this. Imagine a company investing in 600 new, let's say, projects, okay? In a single year, only a handful of those artists/projects will actually make enough to cover everyone else's losses. So when one act stops bringing in returns, the label moves on to the next one, okay? And that's why artists these days, unfortunately, if they sign to like a major label, they are more disposable than ever. And this is why you keep hearing about certain rappers who seemed untouchable just over a year ago, who just don't hear about them anymore, right? The moment the label realizes they're in the negative, that artist gets shelved. Meaning they can't drop music, they can't release anything at all, like they literally cannot do anything, and they're just stuck in this contract because they signed a contract. It's essentially a creative limbo, creative death. And some of these were very big names, like people who dominated the charts, people who were getting pushed everywhere. But when the machine behind them pulled out, everything stopped. And that's one of the main reasons why hip-hop feels so underrepresented on the charts right now. The industry has shifted towards the safe options, artists who already have massive momentum and guaranteed returns on their track record. And when you look at someone like Drake, there's a reason why he's still charting consistently. It's not just because he's Drake, it's because he still works like he hasn't made it yet. He treats every drop like it's his first big moment. Drake is literally one of the
as a Drake fan,
hardest working rappers in the game, work ethic wise. Whether you like his music or not, the man's always locked in, always recording, always experimenting, always adapting. He's always staying ahead of the curve. He's built a rhythm where he never lets the audience forget he's active. That level of consistency is rare. Most artists slow down once they make it. Drake, he decided to double down, which is why he's still at the top, right? And even if he's not sitting at the top of the charts right now, his longevity speaks for itself.
Random thought process. I feel like we need a Young Boy X Drake song. Anybody else? No? Okay.
He's one of the few rappers who built such a strong foundation that even during slower periods, the moment he drops, the world pays attention. And most rappers don't operate that way anymore. And part of that is because it actually costs a lot of money to put out music at a high level. It's not just put out a song and like you're not going to put any money behind it, right? Because the artists who truly believe in their art want to do it the right way. So that means putting something into it. And that's how we've ended up here where we are right now. Everything in music moves in cycles. What's hot today might cool off tomorrow, and what's quiet now might come back stronger than ever in the future. So just because rap isn't charting right now doesn't mean it's falling off. It just means that the cycle is shifting, and it means that the public is responding to rap in a very certain way. Because the facts are that there are tons of rappers out there doing well, connecting with fans directly and building real careers outside of that mainstream machine and mainstream bubble, but they're not the rappers who are going to get that super big push, right? So at the end of the day, everyone who's got an audience, anyone who's built a genuine connection with that said audience is going to keep winning as long as they keep putting something out. So hip-hop as a genre is still alive, it's just going through a dip. But what do I know, right? I'm curious what you think about this. Like, what do you think is going on with rap music disappearing from the charts? If you made it this far, drop a like on this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next video, man. Peace.
BlackySpeakz. Yo, we're pushing P right now, bro.